Welcome to Bad Dog Agility, a podcast helping you reach all of your dog agility goals. Whether it's competing under the bright lights of the televised finals at Westminster or successfully navigating a homemade course in your own backyard, we'll bring you training tips, interviews, and news about the great sport of dog agility. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
The show starts with your hosts, Jennifer, Esteban, and Sarah.
I'm Esteban.
And I'm Sarah, and this is episode 371. Today's podcast is brought to you by Clip and Go Agility. Clip and Go Agility has been innovating high-quality, unique agility products for over 15 years. Their goal is to move the sport forward by providing the safest possible equipment for our canine partners. They offer not only jumps, tunnels, and contact obstacles, but also many problem-solving training aids. Clip and Go understands how fitness plays a large part in our dog's overall safety and are pleased to also offer a variety of fitness products to meet your dog's conditioning needs. They include soft jump bumps, Cavaletti jumps, VersaFit planks, fitness blocks, and paw pods. Check them out at clipandgoagility.com/fitness and use promo code BDA10 to receive 10% off any fitness product. Clip and Go Agility, because safety matters. Today's podcast is also powered by Canine Handler Fitness with Liz Joyce, built for agility handlers who want to keep up with their dogs. With Liz's All Access Pass, agility handlers at every fitness level can hop in right where they are and work towards their specific goals. From building strength and balance to boosting speed and stamina, these short, effective workouts target exactly what you need on course. Your dog's ready, are you? Head to caninehandlerfitness.com to get started today. Today, we are very excited to be joined by guest Kris Seiter, who is just joining us back from the AWC, the Agility World Championship that was held in Sweden a couple of weeks ago. And we finally had a chance to connect. Welcome to the podcast, Kris.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, first of all, congratulations on an outstanding performance.
Thank you.
Typically, Sarah is at this event, but she was not able to attend this year. And,
oh, that's too bad.
And of course, it would be the year that
that America takes gold.
And so we aren't able to see it in person or follow along with the action as closely as we have in the past. So first, how does it feel to go out there to this event? Just such a fantastic event. And perform like this? What's that been like? What's the experience been like?
Well, first of all, it's exactly 1 month today. So September 20th was the day I won. And then, of course, we're 1 month later. It feels like I've lived a lifetime since then, for sure. It was great. This is the first time I've ever gone to the Agility World Championships, and I've only tried out for the last 3 years, ever since the ISC program. So I never had really done enough regular AKC to try out. So I always focused more on EO and WAO and IFCS. So the first time going to this event was really pretty spectacular. I had gone once in 2023 to watch my husband, Chris Tucci, compete. But of course, I was just a spectator then. So this is our first time. We had been alternates the last 2 years, and this was our first time making the team.
Well, let me take a very quick detour because you mentioned the ISC. So what kind of a factor did that play for you? So if there was no ISC, are you saying that you may not have been there? What do you think?
Probably you're correct. Just because I train a certain style, and it's, I like to run that style, of course. And so it's just easier to, compete with courses that you normally run on. So the dog gets used to, different stride patterns and knowing to accelerate with tunnels, because knowing they're going to be straighter and not U-shaped. And so I think without the ISC program, it would have been for sure harder. And for me, it was really a game changer. The fact that we were running courses that we would see exactly in Europe, designed by FCI judges. So I know I felt super prepared because of that. I'm not sure I would have felt as prepared. So that for sure was a huge catalyst in, I think, doing as well as we did, for sure.
So the other thing that I was wondering about was you do compete in the intermediate class.
Yes.
So how old is your dog?
So Navi just turned 6,
Okay.
and so she actually started her career at 24.
Right.
And she's 18 and a half inches, so she's small, and she is actually a better jumper at 24 because she has to think a little bit more. But then when the intermediate division came in, I was like, wow, this is just so much better for her health and longevity, and not doing so much strain jumping 24. So it was really such a nice addition to the smaller dogs in that height, not having to compete with like 21-inch dogs for sure.
Right. So then, like in her early career, was doing things like trying out on the world team. Was that something that you wanted to do with her? I mean, was it on your radar, or was it something that because of her height relative to the other heights, like it wasn't something that you considered until the height class came? Or were you already kind of trying, but then the height class just really made it better for your dog,
I think it made it better. I had tried out for EO, I believe at 24, and I'd always tried out at 24. I actually prefer the 24-inch height because it's just easier for me. Intermediate is hard because they're faster and they're in the air less, and so I feel like I have a whole lot more time handling wise at 24 than intermediate. So it was quite a change from running her at 24 than to 20, because now she was all of a sudden faster and I had to be a better handler. Sure.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, may be controversial. We'll see what people think. Do you think at the FCI Agility World Championship specifically, and I guess we can limit it just to even this year, what would be the most competitive height class? Typically, go ahead.
It's really hard to say because for the most part, most of the heights have the same amount of dogs in there. So you're all competing with around 100 dogs, plus or minus some. It's for me really following the large and intermediate. I'm not really sure, just because I think there's probably the most large dogs, but some of those small and medium courses are so challenging, and they're built for those sizes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes they have crazy challenges that we don't even think about at the smaller heights. And of course, they're super fast. So it's kind of a hard question to answer because they don't run small and medium, but I do run intermediate and large. So I think each height has some super top dogs that you have to kind of weed your way through anyway. So I just think probably they're all pretty even when it comes down to it.
Yeah, that is super interesting because I have definitely had the thought in the past that as a group, right? And, I do not intend to offend anyone, but as a group, I felt like here in the United States, large dog handlers tended to be a little better and a little more technical because the course designs are largely built for medium and large dogs, right? And so you're not doing a lot of tweaking or changes. You might change a jump here or there, but the small and medium dogs, medium dogs essentially run like bigger dogs, and the small dogs, the spacing is not overly challenging for them. But when you get on these FCI courses and events, especially in recent years, these small courses are ridiculous. Like you cannot,
you can't run a big dog.
You can do it for practice, right?
Yeah.
You would definitely have to modify some things because there are some spots where your dog would land in a tunnel, for example.
Right.
But the challenges are really next level, and it requires in my opinion, higher level of skill. Right. So
it's one of the things that I really like about these competitions is that they do have different courses for every height, and they really challenge
that's a
every
great
single
to make.
height,
So,
Yeah.
Kris, you were not running the same course as intermediate. And for people who are listening in are just total beginner, the 4 height classes now
Right.
at the FCI Agility World Championship,
Yep.
small, medium, then intermediate, and then large.
Yes.
Right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so intermediate and large, they're not running the same courses at all.
They are not. They
These
are
not
designed.
nested courses.
Nope.
These are not,
No,
completely
they are
different.
specifically designed for the dogs of that height, which I think I've always said from people that know me, running a really fast, small dog is super challenging because they're so much running on the ground, very little jumping based off of height, but you have to know where they are at all times. And of course, the technicality of those courses that they have to run are really challenging. And I think we saw this year a lot of heavy duty challenges. I was actually a little surprised. When I first saw the first course, I was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
I was like, "Uh-oh."
Well,
And then
tell us,
after watching the white dogs go through it, we were like, "Uh-oh," even more.
right, right. Well, so I wanted to ask you to take us a little bit through the order in which you specifically had your runs for both team and individual, and give us a little bit of how your thinking was evolving after or before each of those runs.
Okay, so intermediates were the very first height to compete. So we competed on Wednesday. So Kris and I arrived on Sunday. We had our practice and we were ready to go on Wednesday. So we did team jumpers first, and I want to say we were like middle in the pack somewhere in the run order. We run as a team. So Lauren ran first, then Vivica, myself, and then Casey was the anchor leg. And we kind of had just figured that order would work well for us. Casey's dog being the oldest and most experienced, then Navi, and then Lauren's dog, I think, being younger and her being new to the team, as well as Vivica. And so that first course was quite challenging. It was a Vittorio course. It had, traps and things in the handler path, and really challenging weave pole entry on that one. I wound up taking third overall. So that was, that was a little bit of a shock because I didn't feel like I ran it well, because at the end I put in a blind cross and it was late and she went on the other side of me, and then I had to pick her up on the other side. And so we lost time, but I still wound up third. So I was just happy to get it done. And then our next course was intermediate agility. And it was a course that I loved. It was designed beautifully. It was by Joachim Tangfeld. And he had it fast, but super challenging, a crazy weave pole entry and exit. And I just mistimed one tiny spot in it. I created a space too tight for Navi, and she went off course. I quickly fixed it and then finished the run, but I was really proud of that run. I felt way more in charge of it than I did the jumpers run, because I think maybe it was more of my taste course-wise, like fast yet technical, for sure. And those were the two team runs. After that, then the event goes, and then we start our individual rounds after that. So then individual jumping happens, and it's Fanny Gott, and I love her courses, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be amazing. And she throws a course down for us, again, equally as challenging as Vittorio. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we really need to be focused on this. Up until the finals, Navi was struggling in the environment. So she was kind of acting a little abnormally. She was worried about the sound and the crowds. So every time I got to the line, I wasn't 100% she was going to be there for me. She wouldn't engage, so she wouldn't tug. So I just let her be. I was like, if she doesn't want to engage, I won't engage. I'll just let her be. And then by the time we got up to the line, she saw the dog running in front of her, and she seemed like, oh, okay, this is agility. But up until then, she was really kind of taken back by the commotion, and she's never competed in that environment. She's competed at EO for several years. And my husband won team gold with her this past year. But she was never been in such a confined place with like pressure and noise and dogs and stuff. So once we stepped to the line on that, that course was all about verbals, tight turns and a crazy discrimination coming out of a tunnel to a weave pole entry with a jump in their visual, which was really hard. I had lost her a little bit in the run where she almost took an off course, and then I got her back on track. So I wouldn't consider it one of those runs that I was like, that was perfect. But again, she got it done. We got through it, and she wound up with the bronze. And so we actually stood on the podium for that round against two of the top competitors in that intermediate height. Well,
let me interrupt you very quickly. So even before that run, though, you had a top 3 finish, right? In
Yes.
team.
Yeah.
So did that give you confidence heading into it, or you were just like, were you telling yourself, oh, well, maybe I had just a lucky run, or maybe not many dogs qualified? Like, how did that impact your mental state?
So my mental state was really this. After each run, good or bad, I just wanted to be appreciative and really grateful for the experience. I told myself I wanted to enjoy it no matter what. I made sure I was in a really good head space. So even when I eliminated, I was really so proud of that run and the work we did. So I'm not sure if it gave me confidence. Maybe it gave me stronger focus, because each round I went in with stronger focus to really get the job done. I wouldn't say it was confidence building, because I never want to get ahead of myself. So I really just enjoyed each moment. And I remember telling my husband, saying, okay, that was a great run, and I'm going to enjoy it for the 20 plus hours until the next run, and then whatever that run is, right? And so that's kind of how I went through the event. And it's one run a day, so it's grueling. It's a lot of time down. It's a prolonged stress, which is hard to describe, right? It's not like it happens really quick and it's over with. It's like a prolonged stress that keeps building and building.
Right.
Yeah.
On top of jet lag and and all of that too, right?
On top of all of that, having to fly and all of that. So, and of course, being outside of your comforts of home for sure.
Right.
But yeah, it was that building stress and the prolongedness. And then once I got a bronze for individual jumping, I really was just like, wow, I'm good. I'm good.
Right.
I don't think I can do any better. I'm good to go now. I was like, I had a really great event, and a friend of mine was like, you still have another run.
Right. So is that just by maybe by your nature, or was it, do you think, quite deliberate psychologically to push that aside and be like, well, at this point,
it's all gravy, right?
Everything is a bonus, and that helped calm you and prepare you, or
I think it's my nature. So I don't have like per se performance anxiety. I'm not somebody who gets to the line and I can't focus. It's when I think focus the most. And I think because the courses were so challenging, it made me focus even more. So I didn't take anything for granted. I think if the courses were easier, or if I thought, oh, this is in our wheelhouse and we do this all the time, maybe my focus might not have been as strong. But because I was like, oh, I really need to be on this. I really need to stay connected with her. I really need to, get my job done. I think the technicality of that gave me stronger focus.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because, they say, like, when they talk about mental management and stuff, they say that there's like that optimum level of, like, stress, if you want to call it that, or anxiety,
Arousal.
or arousal, right?
Yes.
There's that optimum level where you don't want to be too chill, but you also don't want to be too stressed out either. And you have to find that kind of middle ground. So it sounds like you found that really well. And the part of your story that I also wanted to kind of highlight for people, I think it's really awesome that you talked about it and brought it up, is how your dog was not 100% in this environment. And I think that a lot of people feel very maybe defeated when when they don't have like the perfect dog, and dogs are dogs, they're animals, and
perfect warm up for
right,
the run at a big event.
Right, exactly. And I know that a lot of people will get very discouraged. Like you get a new dog, and there's something that the dog you have to work through, right? Maybe they're not good with people, or it takes them more to settle down, or they get a little over aroused or whatever, but it's not the perfect dog, right?
Right.
And it can feel like you're done before you ever started.
Agreed.
But, and I can't remember who we talked to, but I know that you are not the first world caliber medalist, and I'm trying to we've interviewed quite a few people over the years. I'm trying to remember who, but I know that there was somebody else who basically had a very similar story, that their dog, they were really worried about their dog, that their dog was very affected by the environment, and they just focused on what their dog needed, and that we were interviewing them because they had some outstanding performance.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to highlight that for everybody so that they can see that, that even a gold medalist, right, still has to work on these things with their dog, still has to manage their dog in some way, but are still able to have success.
Agreed. I think, again, I've come from a very long line of training dogs, and I've worked with and have my own dogs that have been, all over the map, emotionally and environmental stress. And so I know us humans and trainers, just doing the sport is stress to the animal. And if you keep adding more stress, then you're doing more damage to the dog. So when Navi was so taken back, I'm like, here I am at the World Championship, and I don't know if my dog is going to run. And when she won't engage, the last thing I was going to do is force her to try to engage with me and make her more uncomfortable. So having experience with dogs that are all over the map and experience all kinds of environmental stress, I just wanted her to just relax and not add more stress to already a stressful situation. And I think by doing that, it was hard for me because I wasn't sure, it wasn't my dog, so I wasn't sure I was stepping to the line confidently with her, I knew who, but I also knew that if I stayed calm, then she would be okay. And I guess, with a little luck and everything else and seeing the other dog in front of her, it worked. But I clearly kind of went into a mode of, okay, she's stressed and now I need to be there for her, but in a way that isn't in her face. Kind of thing, and that was quite stressful for me, just in the fact that I was like, oh boy, I don't really have my dog with me. So, but clearly I had to work through it, which the final round was different for sure.
I really like how you took that and made it information, or you took that information.
Yes.
And, then you were able to do something with it, right? Maybe make some adjustments. Whereas I feel like some people get very defeated, right away. There's absolutely, there's no way. And then, of course, that comes true. They kind of make it happen. And, then they blame it on that thing. And then it becomes a very short circuit, a little shortcut to blame the dog.
Well, and the problem with that also too is now you're damaging the relationship, and so it's one thing that again, Navi's a very soft dog. She doesn't look it, but she is, and it's all about relationship and making sure she feels always confident being around me. And if I am a stress point for her, then she's not going to want to be confident, or she's not going to do her best if she feels stressed by me. So my job is to read her and see what she needs, and then of course hopefully do that as well as I can, obviously communicating with an animal and not a human, for sure. So.
I really like that. I think I need to apply that principle more in my marriage. And
he's gesturing to me here.
all of this right here that I am just sitting next to. And I think that makes for a very nice segue to the partner who's not in the room, and that would be Kris. And I'll tell you an amusing story. I'm like, did you contact Kris about the podcast? And Sarah was like, oh yes, I contacted Kris about the podcast. And she had not contacted the correct Kris.
I had messaged on Facebook and said, Kris, would you like to join us for a podcast? But I spelled it Chris, which is her husband, and you're Kris, Kris.
Yes,
So
I
Jen
know.
called me out and said, you want the other Kris? And I was like, I didn't even know there were two Chris's.
Yeah, well, you
Okay,
could
so
have
we're
you could have
all about
interviewed
the
him too.
partnership.
He, like I said, he took Navi to EO this year
Mhm.
for me, and he won a team gold. So you could have
I mean,
interviewed him yourself.
I love that you share a dog. I feel like
Yeah.
more people should do that. Not even just within a household or a relationship, but like even amongst friends. For dogs who really like that and enjoy that, I think it can be really great for both the handlers and
Well,
the dog.
I don't know many people who do that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because I decided not to try out for EO this year, um, and Chris's dog was injured, I said, well, you get the qualifications on her and you take her to tryouts. And he made the team. And I was like, that's awesome. And so leading up to that event, Kris then would run her in competition and just get kind of gel with her a little bit. And then once he returned from Portugal, then I had about a month and a half to kind of reconnect because Navi and I run very differently than Kris and Navi because he's
Sure.
way more physical than I am, and I'm a little bit more finessey, maybe. So she's got to bounce back and forth. Luckily, our verbal cues are the same.
Right. So we kind of cut off the story to go on this side quest.
Yes.
But right before the finals run. So you got bronze in the individual. You've got one run to go.
Yes.
I mean, what is that like? It's reverse seated now.
Yes.
So you are
Yes.
just it is just building for everybody, right? The tension
Yes.
is building for
I
everybody.
would never want to run last at this competition, mostly because, normally I would like to run last, but I have seen so many people just crumble under the pressure of this specific competition as you
Yeah.
get toward the end.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, it was Saturday, and so we had to go through the third round for small, medium, and large. And then the intermediate final was the very last thing to run, and we wound up running around 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, that must have
Oh.
been an excruciatingly long day.
Yeah.
Potentially. I don't know.
Yeah.
How did you deal with it? How did you
Well, it
manage
was,
your own
like I
mental
said,
state?
it was that prolonged stress that it's kind of just always sitting with you. And you gotta kind of just let your mind go elsewhere and not focus on it
Sure.
so much. I will say that when it was our time to go to finals, I was in the third walkthrough because I was seated third to last. The walkthrough was very different. It was way more stressed people. People were bouncing off each other. I'm like, I don't even know if I can get this course in my head because it was more erratic in the way everyone was walking because there was definitely more pressure. So I noticed that for sure. And I was just like, okay, just get your course in, do your plan. I knew I was going to do a different plan than everybody else. But I was going to risk that, because of, what we've trained. And it was also Stephanie Semcat, and she's been a judge of mine that I have loved and admired. And to get her in the finals, was not only special, but even more pressure because I really wanted to do well running under her because she is such a world-renowned judge, and she's notorious for all her amazing courses. She's just just such a great judge. So for her to be the intermediate final and then having to wait all that time, I changed my process up a little bit. The arena was a bit of a maze in and out. So when it was getting time for me to run, I watched about 30 people run and then I was done. I couldn't watch anymore. After a while, you can't watch any more of the run because now for me, I don't want to think about what other people are doing. I had my plan. I don't want to see it go wrong because then that might stay in my head. So I watched 30 runs and then I left the arena. And then I brought Navi into like a gym area with Ann Reba, our assistant coach, and we kind of just walked around and kind of just let her warm up a little bit before it was our time to head to the stadium to get lined up. You walk up a ramp, and then as you go up the ramp, then they seat you in boxes as you get to the arena. And as soon as I walked up the ramp, because we had kept Navi away from the commotion, she was all on. She was my dog again. I had her back, and I was like, she's ready to go. I don't have to worry now about if she's gonna not want to run or be spooked. And as we got closer and closer into the arena, she was just confident and looking ahead. I was able to tug with her. My teammates were like, "Oh my God, Navi is actually tugging with Kris." So they knew that, something had changed. And then John was there waiting for us at the arena. And the gentleman before me, he was, I can't remember what country he was from, but he was doing a lot of like exercising and jumping around. And I'm like, okay, don't look at this guy. Look at this guy. Because he was like really just warming his body up. And I was just like, look at him go. But like, just, just focus. And then I knew I had the two top German girls behind me, and one being Danny Fischbach, who I have admired for a long time, and her dog is amazing. And I knew she was going to be tough to beat. I just knew both of them were going to be tough to beat. So I get ready to go into the box, the final box, and John says to me, actually, I say to him first, I said, I'm going to go for it. And he says, I know you can do this. Show the world what you can do. And we step to the line. They're still setting the wall. And I kind of just had a moment to really just be like, okay, it's game time. It's time to go. And I got through the run. I changed my handling mid-course, which I probably wouldn't always recommend doing, but I knew it would get me down the course a little bit further than I needed to be, which was good. And then coming into the end line, there's like 2 jumps left, and I was just like, keep your cool. Don't mess this up. You're so close. Once I ran clean, I was like, I've done everything I can. I laid it out there. I did everything I could. Wherever that was going to fall, it was going to fall. But to run the finals clean, and then Navi knew it was great, and we were really excited together. And John told me, don't leave the arena, because I was like going to get her and take her out and cool, because that's the first thing you do, take them out, cool them down. And he was like, no, you stay in the arena.
Right. I mean, because you knew you'd at least get bronze, right? No matter what, because you
don't really know, because you don't know the times, so you don't know because
that's the thing I was going to ask. Like, how soon did you realize that you were the current leader? So not until everything was done.
I didn't at all. Yeah. All I knew is I ran clean, but the announcers, and then they have it up on the screen, have a time to beat. We know nothing about that. We have no idea, I have to make this time, because if she ran slower, I didn't know there was a time she had to beat to stay in the top spot.
Right.
So you just don't know. So you're really kind of in a bubble where like the live stream and the commentators and what's going up above, you're kind of not aware of it. All I knew is I ran clean, and I had put pressure on the last 2 ladies, and that's all I could do. Where it was going to just be what it was going to be at that point.
Right. So then at what point did you know that you won gold? Like how quickly?
So I was told that the German girl, Rebecca, after me had a seesaw fault. So I knew.
So you didn't watch their runs?
I did not watch their runs.
Because you're like focused on your dog.
I was focused on my dog, and I knew that whatever they were going to do, that was their job. And let me celebrate with my dog, who had did so much and came through so much in this event to give me such a great performance. She was my concern. Like, I had already won For me, I had
Right.
already won because we had a great run and I knew she was happy and excited to do it.
Mm.
So whatever happened, happened. And then I could hear the crowd. They were making noises and stuff. And then I think when Danny went, she also had a seesaw fault. We joke that I won on the American seesaw because because we have to, here
Because we
have to.
tend to call it tighter in the
Well,
US.
We
especially
we have to,
recently,
they have
recent
to,
years.
we have to, and now everything's under video review, so you can't
Right.
get away with the dog coming off of 6 inches and get away with it. And so then I was told instantly after that, I was
Right.
told that Navi and I were the gold medalist.
Oh, I wonder if there was video assisted review on those 2 runs.
There were, yeah.
were?
Every run was recorded, and you knew by the time you left, your contacts were already judged by
so
video.
they checked on video every single one.
As soon as it happened, they were.
I
So
see.
you finished your run, and they had already been reviewed.
Wow.
Okay, I really like that
Yeah.
because
Me too.
I'm just such a stickler for like
Rules.
rules. Like why, otherwise we just all do it in our backyards and
Yeah.
everybody would be
It's like John Wick, right?
Yes.
Doesn't he say rules are what separate us from the animals? Is that what the manager in
maybe,
John
maybe.
Wick says?
Well, it's
Yeah.
really hard. It's really hard for, if someone said, "Oh, well, I should have won because I got a bad call," right?
Yeah.
Or this person won and they really shouldn't have. And so this was great to know that the judge, there's so much pressure on these judges and to be perfect.
Oh,
and
it's impossible to see. The dogs are so quick, and then the eye simply cannot distinguish.
And especially after 100 dogs, right?
Of course.
So the seesaw is one of those that it's so hard to judge. And having it on video review, having all of them on video, you knew you were getting good calls, right?
Right.
I really like that.
Me too.
Yeah, they did it at EO too. I think was like the first time, and then they repeated it here at AWC. And so
We need this, in my opinion. I'm just going to put it out there. We need this in all of our big competitions here in the United States. Period. End of story.
yeah, because it's
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, we have, like, I am all about, like, if there's a technical solution, right? We have the technology, let's use it.
Yeah. Well, that was really, again, like I said, it was great to know that you were getting credit for what you did, or getting called for what your dog didn't do. So that kind of just took out any, noise in the background of people talking. So, so then I was a little bit in shock because many people are like, your dream came true, but my dream was never to be world champion. I never dreamed about being the world champion. This is the first time I've been here. But I think that I always just want to do the best I can for my dog at the time and kind of read that dog, whoever it is, and do the best for them. And I think, again, at this level, there's so many great dogs and so many great handlers, right?
Right.
It really just comes down to those, like it could be just your day, right? And not to take it away from my win, because I think I won fair and square, but it could have easily have been Danny as the world champion. And when she came up to me and the day after and said, "How does it feel to be world champion?" I was just like, I don't know. And coming from you, it just felt like a big honor,
Right.
So,
I mean, it's got to be amazing to medal, first of all, right?
Yes.
And then it has to be amazing to get gold, right?
Yes.
But is there any sense, or was there any sense for you about kind of, I guess, your place in American agility? Because it's not like we medal every year at Worlds, right?
Yeah.
And it's definitely not like we get gold, and have a bring home a world champion. It is a very rare event in American agility. And now your name is there with just a few other people. So did you at the time, or do you now have a sense of kind of the larger picture, just beyond being a world champion, but being, representing the U.S. and the state of U.S. agility today?
That's a good question. I think that again, the United States, we're hungry. We're hungry to do well. I think our playing field has been evened out a little bit, so we're able to compete on courses that we see at World Championships. Having the weight of the country on my shoulders, I don't even think I even have that feeling, because I think that as a team, we were so close and we were rallying around our coach so much. I think we just wanted to all do our best for him, John Knives, and I think that was never even in my thought. It was really about enjoy every ounce of this moment. Be grateful that you're here with your dog. Leading up to this event, I was very sick. I almost pulled from the team. John was so nice when I was going through a lot of health struggles, and I was really just grateful to be able to make it to Sweden. Again, I think that we have great dogs in America and we have great trainers. It is so hard to become world champion. If you look at the list of people, almost nobody repeats it. Almost nobody. I think Lisa Frick has, Martina has with Kiki, but almost nobody repeats their world championship title, which I think goes to show you how crazy difficult it is. Which, being there and knowing what has to happen, I think that's what makes the event so special. And they make you feel like it's special. You really do feel like you're at the Olympics.
Right. It really does. Yeah. The pomp and circumstance is definitely there.
Yeah.
We've already gone, so long. I feel like when you get three people like us on a podcast, we could talk all day about agility and get to know you and your dog. I have two questions, just kind of random, that came to my mind. One, I probably should have known before going in, but I'll just ask you. You had mentioned that you were alternate, the two previous years before. So this year, did you win your spot on, or were you selected?
So I won the top spot. So I actually won the intermediate height. And so I was, won my way on. I was coming out of not feeling well going into that tryouts. And so my first round wasn't great. And then I kind of just got maybe a little annoyed with myself. And I was like, you know what, we only have 4 rounds to make the team. So focus and get your job done.
Right.
And we did. So,
I mean, it's an amazing history to have only been to tryouts 3 times, to been alternate 2 times, for this to be your first world championship, and then to bring home not just a medal for a round, but gold overall. I mean, it's truly incredible. And then my other question was, you had mentioned that you changed your plan in the finals, and I don't know if you can describe it very well, but that was a run that we looked at your handling with our students, our VIP members, and took a look at your run. And so I'm super curious now, after having done that, to hear what part of it you changed and why you ended up changing it kind of on the fly. Like what made you change it?
So I had originally walked, so obviously I did the front cross coming into the other side of the dog walk, which most handlers stayed with the dog on the right, and then they either blind crossed the dog walk or rear crossed the double. So I didn't want to blind cross the dog walk because the space was tighter than I felt comfortable with, and I really didn't want to soft rear cross a double. Kind of thinking back and like, how many times have I done that with her? Probably never. So I thought, well, get on the other side. It's going to cost you a little time. But then you came into a tunnel and then you had a throttle wrap. I had originally planned on doing a backside S turn to a blind cross. Instead, I throttled it. And I throttled it like, I brought her in like a throttle extensions cue. I did that, which allowed me about 10 more feet of wiggle room coming into the end of the course. So I hadn't planned on doing that, but I did it on the fly because I didn't want to be late coming into the end line. And it worked. It worked great. It worked great. It was a risk for her because it was tight and she could have dropped the bar there. But she didn't. And then I was able to cue a rear cross to the A-frame, which gave me a super nice tight turn on the slice jump. And then it was kind of just easy to figure out the end line. So I probably wouldn't recommend doing that if you
changing your plan on the fly.
But if you can, and you can execute it, I kind of made that decision last minute.
Right.
There. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, there's two things that you mentioned that I wanted to call attention to and the first is, and I think it's so important, so good, really good, is you felt like that you won and that you were a winner. And I feel like sometimes as competitors, we lose track of, what we're there for, and we become very results oriented. So even if you have this amazing run, your ultimate happiness, that last little bit of joy is completely dependent on where you end up in the placements. And I don't think that's the right approach to have at all. And I just really like how you said that. And then the second thing I wanted to say was I really liked the advice that you got from the team coach this year, which is John Nyes, and of course a tremendous loss to the community, a great guy, and all about agility, but I think all about supporting people. And I love that he said, go out there and do it, because I think there can be a tendency, especially if you are a coach, and we have coached, not just in dog agility, but other things and other sports and for our kids and stuff like that. There can be a tendency to tell someone or warn someone to kind of rein it in,
right.
to not go for it in a sense. Because what if you're the coach who says, go for it? They go for it. They don't get it. And suddenly, the coach told me to go for it. There's people who don't want that kind of responsibility. And I like that he was there in the moment with you, and that you had that experience. You'll always have that experience and interaction with him.
Yeah, well, I told him I was going for it, and he said, "You can do this.
Yeah, I love
show
that.
the world." And so I had set my mind to really, not leave anything out there. I think all my runs, I felt like I worked them hard, and no matter what the results were, I was going to be proud of them and my dog, no matter what. I mean, because she didn't sign up to do this, and I hope I've made it fun for her to love it, even under duress, which she was under that event. But she also knew I had her back, and I think that's what good agility trainers and handlers have to do. They have to. Our dogs aren't machines; they're living, breathing family members, and for me, she's a family member first. She just happens to be the world champion now.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was great getting to talk to you and kind of getting your perspective on this historic event. And once again, congratulations on an amazing showing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a great time. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And that's it for this week's podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Clip and Go Agility and Canine Handler Fitness with Liz Joyce. Happy training.
Thank you for listening to Bad Dog Agility. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, updates, and links to all our socials, just check out our website, www.baddogagility.com. If you haven't already signed up for our email subscription, we would love to have you join the BDA community. Until next time, take care.